Okay, so today I'm going to go over the top 5 most overrated exercises in the gym. Let's get into it. So quickly, one quick disclaimer is no exercise you're doing is technically like bad, unless you're doing it so poorly you're going to get injured, but some of them are just better than others for ways they hit the muscle and other reasons like that. So I'll go through them. I'll explain why I'm not the biggest fan of them. And also, if you want to still do these, hey, your life, your choice. You go for it. All right. So the first one is probably like the most generic exercise you can think of, the dumbbell curl. Like, don't get me wrong. You are 100% training your biceps, but I just think there's better curl variations. So I'll pop up me doing an incline bench curl. I think this is a better exercise. Better stretch, tension the whole way, isolates it kind of a little more. It gives you that stability of having your tricep kind of pinned against the pad. So I like that better. A hammer curl like this, I most definitely like better because one, when you're doing a hammer curl like this, you are also training your forearm, which is really undertrained. Two, your bicep has 2 heads. Why it starts with bi, meaning 2. Doing a hammer curl hits both heads of your biceps. So that is another reason why I prefer those 2 curl variations. Then there's like a preacher curl variation that I would prefer just because it isolates way more and gives you that stability having the pad underneath. And honestly, even like a cable curl I'd probably prefer because that gives you tension the whole way. So like, I just named 4 curl variations already. I would prefer all of those to doing just regular curls. Regular curls aren't a bad exercise. They're going to target what you're trying to do and hit your biceps, but I'm just not the biggest fan of them. So, they are overrated. Curls are overrated. Next one, I need to move the camera forward, so I'll be back in a second. Okay, now that we are down here, the next one is a plank. So, doing a plank like this, in my opinion, is just not a good exercise. So let's go over one. So first of all, if you were going to train your biceps like I was just doing, every exercise I show you, I was moving my arm, right? You wouldn't train your biceps. Like I wouldn't train my biceps by just going like this. So why would I train my core by just holding this position? It doesn't really make sense. It's just doing an isometric to try and train an exercise. Your core and your abs, you should be training like any other muscle. So I would do hanging leg raises. I would do any type of like crunch machine. If you want to do leg raises, flutter kicks, like I have an entire video of at-home core exercises you can do. There's so many better core exercises than a plank. I really don't like planks. I think it's just honestly a waste of time. So let's move on to the next one. Okay, so the next one, you'd obviously be doing this with a bench or some other item at the gym, but I am clearly in my basement and not at a gym. So the next one is a dumbbell row. So doing like a dumbbell row like this, it's 100% not a bad exercise. You 100% are hitting your back, but let's look at the movement. You're just not very stable here. It's not the greatest stability, especially when you're using something like this. If you're doing it at a gym, a lot of people do it on the dumbbell rack, and in my opinion, now you're just in the way. So I don't like that. Plus, I just feel like there's more stable variations. Like I'd rather see you do like a seated cable row rather than this. I feel like there's just better row variations, in my opinion. I'd even probably rather see you do like a barbell row over this. I also just do prefer that exercise. I also feel like a lot of times with this, a lot of people can be limited by their biceps a lot more when they're doing a row. In addition, a lot of people over-rotate and end up going like this, which can hurt your back because you should have some slight rotation, but it's just a little tricky and you can definitely get hurt doing it. So there's the injury risk with it, and I just think there's better exercises. So, because most gyms, there's going to be at least probably 1 or 2 machine row variations along with being able to do a cable row. So I just don't really ever see a reason to do this. You don't need to be doing 7 different rows throughout your exercise, throughout your workout. So it's not like the worst exercise. This is up there for one of the better exercises, of these 5, but I just still don't really see a need to ever do it. So dumbbell row, overrated. Okay, so the next one is a shoulder exercise, and it is, let me grab the other dumbbell, it is front raises. Ooh, that's heavy. 25s are a little heavy to do front raises with, but doing a front raise like that on the side. Now, that actually is a great front delt exercise. But the reason I don't really think you need to do it is, if anything, most people do too many pressing exercises in the gym on their chest day, and those hit your front delt. So like, you're already kind of destroying your front delt. The odds are you don't need to be doing a front delt specific exercise. Because if you're doing an incline bench, if you're doing a shoulder press, if you're doing a flat bench press, I don't know if a decline press would hit it, but any of those pressing variations are going to use your front delt. Any type of machine press is going to somewhat be engaging your front delt. If you're doing lateral raises, those engage, to a degree, your front delt. So your odds are you're already hitting your front delt a bunch. So you don't really need a front delt specific exercise. To be honest, that's the only reason I think this is an overrated exercise. I do think it's a good exercise if you somehow weren't ever training your front delts, and maybe you're injured for whatever reason and you can't hit your chest. Great front delt exercise to add in. But in the context of most workouts you're gonna do, don't really see a place for it, just due to that fact that you're already probably killing your front delts. So, the last one, and to be honest, I did not get the equipment out to set it up, but that's also because it is the most universally known exercise, the barbell bench press. So the reason I'm not a big fan of the barbell bench press is the reason I'm not doing the barbell bench press today. It messed up my shoulder a little bit. I did it on Monday and my shoulder's bothering. So barbell bench is obviously a decent chest exercise, but if anything, like, it just isn't really worth it in my opinion, if you're not powerlifting. Because if your goal is hypertrophy and muscle growth, there are many better options. I'd rather see you doing any type of machine press that's flat, probably. 100% I'd rather see you be doing it with dumbbells, 100%. Personally, I don't even do a flat pressing motion, or even if you do like a cable press, I'd prefer that. It's just a lot better on your shoulders. You can get yourself in a more natural position. With the bar, you're kind of locked in place, so it's hard and can bother your shoulders. Whereas with dumbbells, if you want to press them from here, like wherever you want to press them from, you can in a comfortable way. Whereas with the bar, it's only one spot, like that's it. You can front and back, but if anything, that's just gonna hurt your shoulder more. You can't angle them. So I'm not the biggest fan of benching. I only really do it, I cycle it in every couple months just because I'm kind of curious what my PR is. It is one of the big 3 lifts. Like, I wouldn't say never do bench, but outside of times where like I'll program it in for like a couple months, like meaning like maybe a month or 2, just figure out what my PR is, or if I'm pushing to hit like 315 or something, I might do that in the future where I'll program in bench for a structured period of time. But like full-time, year-round, I just wouldn't really recommend it. I feel like the injury risk to reward with it isn't really there. Plus, if your goal is hypertrophy and muscle growth, machines typically are going to be the better option for hypertrophy because you can push yourself a little harder. Like, you can go to half reps on a machine chest press, or like or with dumbbells you can't really. You can kind of do half reps and you can drop them like you're safe. If you start doing half reps with a barbell bench, death is your option, I guess. I guess you could have a spotter, but now you're really asking the spotter to do a lot. So with that being said, barbell bench, overrated. And with that being said, those are the 5 most overrated exercises in the gym, in my opinion. Recap quickly: we got curls, overrated; plank, overrated; dumbbell row, overrated; front raises, overrated; and barbell bench, overrated. Not a big fan of any of these. And I will say though, all of these exercises are decent exercises. Outside planks, those suck, don't do them. But the other 4, those are all like solid exercises. But there's just better things you can be doing, better bang for your buck. better ways to spend your time, you know? That's really what I'm trying to say here. So with that being said, I hope maybe you can make some switches to what I've said here in this video, or in the terms of planks and front raises, just don't do them. And with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you next Sunday at 5 p.m. Catch you there.